It's how things are looking, and it's another good result for Hansi Flick. He's done so well in this competition since he came in at Barcelona, and it's yet another tick in that box against Albacete, who did give them a few scares, but in the end, Barcelona would come through. Luis Garcia was watching this game with us today. Some tense moments in the closing stages there, Luis.
Yeah, it was exciting until the last moment, and something that we were expecting from that fantastic crowd at Albacete. Spirit, the dream of becoming a semi-finalist on this beautiful competition. Wasn't in the end come true, but definitely they deserve something else, because in the last 20 minutes we saw an Albacete that wanted to get that equalizer, trying to get something. And Barcelona, with all the rotation, kind of lost the control of the game, something that I think it was the most important. They came out in the second half with a little bit faster, moving the ball a little bit faster than we as in the first 45. They found the back of the net once again. Again, I think that they should have put a few more goals into the goal, because the chances were there. But they allowed Albacete, and Ale was mentioning during the halftime, if you allow them to believe, the crowd will push you, and in the end you will have problems. That's what we saw in the last few minutes. Excitement, but in the end it was Barcelona who is going to go through to the semi-finals. I think they did a good job during the 90 minutes, but didn't get that control that we were expecting.
They knew it wasn't going to be easy today, Barcelona, didn't they?
Yeah, obviously this team beat Real Madrid there in Albacete, and you knew that the crowd was going to be intense and the crowd was going to be all over this team. And si se puede, yes we can. This whole idea of Albacete once again being able to beat a giant of Spain. When Barcelona scored the second goal, and I said at halftime, Barcelona scored a second goal, it's game, set, match. But see, here's the thing. I'm sitting comfortably in a very nice, cool studio, thousands of miles away from the field. And it's one thing if I believe the game is over at 2-0. It's completely different if the Barcelona players believe that the game is over at 2-0. And the arrogance with which Barcelona players took on the last 25 minutes of the game is what made this interesting. Now you have Dani Olmo, who gets around the goalkeeper, has a nice, comfortable, easy pass for a tap-in for Ferran Torres or whoever it may be that was trailing the play. He decides to go with a Rabona attempt just because. And there were plays like that in the second half in which you haven't put the game away. You could put it away. You miss opportunity. Ferran Torres had chances. Marcus Rashford had chances. Lewandowski had chances. They don't put it away. And Albacete then believes that maybe there is something here for us. The chances then fell to Albacete. And that's when Hefte had his magical night against Real Madrid. Couldn't quite replicate that today against Barcelona. He had two clear chances, two clear opportunities, in particular the header. And at 2-1, stress levels high for everybody. Unnecessarily so for Barcelona. And it begs the question, how is Albacete, who seem to be playing at this level as they did against Real Madrid and as they did against Barcelona, how are they 12th in Segunda? Huh? They're unable to replicate the same energy, the same intensity, the same spirit, the same belief. They're not able to replicate that on a weekly basis in Segunda. And even though that they have won 3 matches in a row in Segunda since they beat Real Madrid, if indeed they're going to make it to Primera, they have to continue to play like this. The problem is that they don't play Barcelona every time, they don't play Real Madrid every time, and the motivation is not quite there nearly as much as it was today or was against Real Madrid.
One player who's definitely motivated for Barcelona at the moment is Lamine Yamal. He's had a number of goal contributions in recent games. That was a nice goal from him today, Stevie.
It looks so easy.
It's a great finish from Lamine Yamal, and he had a lot of bright moments today, but I must say as well, in the second half, there was a lot of Lamine Yamal that I did not care for, nor did I appreciate. The hands up in the air when somebody doesn't complete a pass for him. The walking back when the team is under pressure. Just this body language that I don't want to see from a 30-year-old and certainly don't want to see from an 18, 19-year-old either. Because nobody got the ball to him or they didn't complete the pass that he wanted. What if every time that he missed a pass, which he did at times today, people were getting their hands up in the air as well? How does that work? I didn't like it, didn't care for it. And I love Lamine Yamal, and I've been very vocal about that. But in games like today, when you're grinding and you need to put the match away, this doesn't help.
Were you going to say something then?
Well, that's down to the more experience. As great a player as Yamal is, right? He's only a kid. So the experienced players on that Barcelona team, you know, your De Jongs and all these guys, those are the players who should be on people like him and not let him away with things like that. And those are the types of guys, when Ali's talking about how at 2-0 they think the game's done, those again are the types of guys, your Lewandowskis as well, who should be going around the young guys. And anybody who looks as though they think the game's over and be on top of them. And that's the difference with this team. You know, this is a good team, but there won't be a great team because when you let that happen against better opposition, then you'll lose, and you'll lose at the wrong time.
What do you think of what the boys are saying about Lamine Yamal, Luis?
I 100% agree. We come from a different generation that this one that we are watching at these stages and this kind. We know what it is. Those moments where you feel that you are the best one, you are in a great moment, and everything around you, and everyone around you is praising you and is rubbing you the back. So we understand that you sometimes can lose the what is underneath of you, the air. You feel that you are in a different level, and the behavior starts changing. And I agree 100% with Ale, talking about those moments of lacking of intensity, of willness, or whatever you want to call it. But it's not something that we want to see on a team that is all about energy, dynamism, intensity. If one player starts losing that, that is contagious and start getting into the other ones. Raising the hand, complaining about everything, not running, not tracking, not pressing. That's something that we don't want to see. And Lamine Yamal is being fantastic behaving like this. Let's don't forget they are massive, huge platform that a lot of kids look at. And his behavior can kind of drive those young players to become like this. And that's something that we don't want. And we are just talking a few moments, not many that we can complain. But definitely something that we haven't seen much, and we don't want to see a lot.
João Cancelo got the start today. He got an early yellow in the 15th minute.
I think that is going to make this a game and that is going to get this crowd crazy is if we, us, Barcelona, give them an advantage. And the advantage that we could give them is a second yellow card for João Cancelo. So it was a no-brainer at halftime. Once you see that this guy was barely hanging on in the first half, even though it may be disappointing to João Cancelo, if you're Hansi Flick, your job is to make sure that your team advances and put your team in a situation to win matches. And at that point, if you think he's at risk, he's got to come off, and he did. And I thought it was a correct decision by Hansi Flick.
Another player who got the start today was Ronald Araujo. Luis got a goal as well. What did you make of his performance today?
A few minutes of him not long ago and in the last game, and today finally getting involved into the game, and fantastic to see him goal. I think he's a player who needed, and today I think he received a well-deserved goal that is going to help him out from now until the end of the season. Players that like him are going to be needed, like rotation, so important for Hansi Flick now.
It was his first start since the game against Chelsea back in November, and obviously Barcelona could do with the best version of him right now in this final stretch, Ale.
Yeah, and I think from Ronald Araujo's perspective, it was important to have a game like this. I think he gets more out of this sort of game that ends up 2-1, that is stressful, that forces him to defend through 90 minutes than if this game had been 5-0. Because then that's just passing the ball around the back, completing passes comfortably. The fact that he was pushed around a little bit and he was able to push back, that he gets a goal, that he goes and celebrates with Hansi Flick, because I think Hansi Flick was very understanding and accommodating of the situation of Ronald Araujo. And sometimes managers can be, let's just say, uncomfortable with the idea of admitting that their player has issues with mental health. It's not so easy for managers to, because you can't quite see that. You see a hamstring when you pull it. You see when you blow out a knee. You see when you twist an ankle, but you can't quite see what's going on in here. And if a player tells you that he's not quite there, it's difficult for a manager to deal with it unless you have an open mind and understand your players and understand their behaviors. And so I think the hug with Hansi Flick is one of those like, thank you, boss. And I'm here. You can use me. I'll do the best that I can, and I'm ready to play for you. I think today's game was important for Ronald Araujo.
That was definitely a thanks for trusting me hug.
Yeah.
You know, because at the end of the day, as Ali says, when you're on the outside, you don't know what's going on the inside. And the fact that he's put himself up for selection and the fact that he's played him tells you that it goes both ways. So that was a thanks box hug for trusting me.
Yeah, great to see. Another thing is that Hansi Flick just seems to know how to manage each of his players in their own way. And one thing we've seen about Marcus Rashford before this game, some comments from Hansi Flick, Luis.
Try to give him the trust. It's going to be needed because we need to give some rest to Rafinha. He picked a couple of injuries during the season, so that means because of his efforts that he does every single game, he needs rest, and Rashford needs to improve, needs to make a step forward. Once again today, he was on 1v1 situation a couple of times. He missed it. We saw again that on open spaces, he kills you because he's so quick and so fast. But definitely, I'm missing that right time at the right place, and a little bit of. I understand also because he doesn't have the regularity, he doesn't have the consistency in playing 5 games in a row. It will make a big difference. But with Rafinha in top form, it's going to be difficult for him. So he needs to pick those moments, these opportunities, and show the manager that he's going to be ready whenever he receives the call.
The issue with Marcus Rashford is the issue that has been with Marcus Rashford over the course of his career, is that he gives you enough to think, man, this guy could be something for us. And then it doesn't quite happen. And just in terms of him getting himself in a position to score a goal today, he runs right through the middle. It's a good ball from Dani Olmo. It's everything to shoot at. And not only does he miss it, but he misses it by a lot. And that is, I think, the sort of thing that drives you crazy if you're Hansi Flick or any manager who has had Marcus Rashford in the past, because you're seeing the physical attributes, you've seen the skill set, you probably see it in training quite a bit, and you're thinking, all right, that's going to show up over here in the field. And it doesn't nearly as much as it should. And that has been the common denominator of Marcus Rashford wherever he has been, wherever he has played. This conversation of that he could give us more. He could be more than what he has been. Although they're happy with him at Barcelona, but there is that sense that there's more there. Well, there is, but he doesn't give it to you.
Stevie, what do you think of this whole situation that Hansi Flick feels there's more there, but he's not quite getting it from Marcus Rashford?
I find it hard to argue with Ali. You know, Marcus Rashford in his career, never mind just at Barcelona, has shown at times what he's capable of. But more times than not, it's not there. But there's enough of it to keep thinking it's going to happen. And he kind of, you know, the chance today, the one at the weekend, he pulls you into a situation where you're like, he's going to score. But he doesn't. And then it's a whole process that has to start again, because then he doesn't play for a couple of games. So then he has to get back up to speed. It's kind of one of those... It's like a revolving door that's never going to stop, actually, and Rashford's going to be the guy. For all his quality and his pace and his football brain to get himself in those positions, that finish. This is not a kid we're talking about. This is an experienced international football player who's been round the block, and we're still talking about what if. So, still what if.
Did we learn anything new about Barcelona today?
Well, no. We said in the pregame they're going to give up a goal, and they did. They're going to give chances, and they did. They're going to create chances, and they did. They had some issues scoring goals against Elche, even though they scored 3, which showed how many chances they actually missed. So they missed more chances today. Not a whole lot about Barcelona that we didn't already know. My concern is that winning this sort of games kind of sweep aside issues that continue to build over time with this group. And eventually you will run into something that Stevie alluded to. You will run into a situation in which you are playing against better opposition in a moment that truly, truly matters, and a defining moment in a season. Talk about semifinals of Champions League. We're talking about a defining moment in La Liga, and you're not quite able to be solid defensively, to hang on to control of the game, to put the ball away when you need to put it away and put the match away with a goal. That changes the whole feeling of a game. Those are the things that we want to see from Barcelona with more consistency, and I'm sure that Hansi Flick does as well. This is a tremendous team with tremendous talent going forward. Defensively, they have their issues. They don't seem to care about that all that much. None of that has changed, and none of it of what we saw today was evidence that it's going to change anytime soon. This is who they are.
Yes, well, we'll find out at the weekend. Luis, thank you so much for being with us. We will be casting our eyes over Barcelona once again this weekend as they are back in action in La Liga. They're up against Mallorca on Saturday, bright and early on ESPN Plus, 9:45 a.m. Eastern for all the build-up. Following dates, Valencia taking on Real Madrid, 2:30 p.m. Eastern for the build-up to the live game there.